Right, I think we're working. Welcome to Punk for the Homeless Holocaust Memorial Day live stream. Basically, Eagle will present. I've got to point out again, I can't read your comments. Something's happened to my technical thing, and I don't understand technology, so they've gone. So I won't be able to see any of your comments till afterwards. I'm sorry about that. If somebody can explain in 4-year-old language why my comments are no longer on the screen, great, but don't worry about it. Eagle, who's from Nottinghamshire, and his mates have been running for years an organisation called Punk for the Homeless, which helps an orphanage called the Hope Orphanage in Sierra Leone, on the east coast of Africa. And I've done a few things from in the past, and he asked me to do something, around this time. And I thought, absolutely, Holocaust Memorial Day as well. So there is definitely an anti-fascist theme this evening. And without further ado, I'll start off with the one that I was writing about actually this afternoon. I'm wearing the St. Pauli Fans Gig and Rex t-shirt. I wrote this song in 1991 in Hoyerswerda, in what used to be the German Democratic Republic, which used to have full employment, and everyone had a job and somewhere to live and decent education. And then basically they were told by Helmut Kohl that they were going to be free, and then they had no job, no education, and many of them had nowhere to live. And they got very, very angry. And so in 1991, I did a gig in a youth centre in Hoyerswerda, where for the first time in my life, the anti-fascists in the audience were outnumbered by the fascists. Although, as I said in the piece I wrote earlier, most of the people actually weren't fascists. They were just young, angry, confused, and lied to, and prey, of course, to the garbage that right-wing scumbags foist on people precisely at those times. I wrote this song then called "This Is Free Europe," a couple of days after, and later on in that tour I played it in St. Pauli, and the people in St. Pauli then asked me if they could put it on the back of the St. Pauli Gag and Rex t-shirt, and that's where it is right now. This is Free Europe. Dead of night in Carpenter brings the ghosts in the days of Vichy, broken windows in the high street, swastikas in the cemetery, long young men on a Rostock evening, fear and loathing on their breath, 10-1 of the cowardly fathers, arms outstretched in the sign of death. If it takes a voice, shout the truth. If it takes a hand, hold them back. If it takes a fist, smash them down. From Cable Street to Hoyerswerda, Griffin, Schoenhuber and Le Pen. This is free Europe, never again. Afternoon in a Soviet city, now they don't even need to hide. Blue shirt thugs advertise their pogroms, none are arrested, none are tried. Pamyat reads a memory. What memories for these Russian Nazis? Children killed in front of their mothers, human flesh turned into lampshades. If it takes a voice, shout the truth. If it takes a hand, hold them back. If it takes a fist, smash them down. From Cable Street to Hoyerswerda, Griffin, Schoenhuber and Le Pen. This is free Europe, never again. Once more we see the darkness in the European soul. As the chains fall, there comes an awful beast. His eyes are staring, and there is hell upon his brow. Oscar, Francois, Gregor, Tanya, listen to me now. If it takes a voice, shout the truth. If it takes a hand, hold them back. If it takes a fist, smash them down. From Cable Street to Hoyerswerda, Griffin, Schoenhuber and Le Pen. This is free Europe, never again. I'm a Jew in Carpenter, I'm a Jew in a Russian city, I'm an Asian in the East End, I'm a Cuban in East Germany. Don't tell me, it doesn't concern us, it's not something to ignore. They are feeding on our apathy, that's how it began before. If it takes a voice, shout the truth. If it takes a hand, hold them back. If it takes a fist, smash them down. From Cable Street to Hoyerswerda, Griffin, Schoenhuber and Le Pen. This is free Europe, never again. Thanks so much. Greetings from COVID Central. I'm still COVID positive. Not that the line has got a lot thinner in the last couple of days, and the aversion to beer has gone. I actually feel pretty much okay, except that I've got a bit of a cough and the lungy bits are not quite up to scratch. But I'm hoping to be able to do an hour. But if I have to cry for a bit early, you'll understand why. But yeah, it's been all right. I'm going to be writing about this when it's over. I don't want to count my chickens, but all the rest of it. But I should be writing a piece about vaccination and doing a song about it a bit later as well. Continuing the theme, in the early 80s, many of you will know I was seriously targeted by the far right. One of the reasons I was because I wrote this poem, Andy's a Corporatist. If you're going to be an anti-fascist poet, the best place to perform your poetry is in places where fascists congregate, or where, more specifically, young, angry people congregate who are easy prey for the lies and shit that fascists come out with. That's what I did. I used to perform this sometimes to people who really didn't like it and got into some scrapes, but like I said in one of my other poems, when a fascist hits a poet, the poet's doing something right. I put this on an Oi album, and it's called Andy's a Corporatist. We went on there with the new backing of the Newtown Neurotics, my very first ever dub project. And there have been many more since, most of them very recently. Andy's a corporatist. He is corpulent, often pissed, and he is friends with Flemish Nazis, goes to Hitler's birthday parties 7 times a year. I met him at the 100 Club. He was there on business, but he couldn't start a riot, so he stayed kind of quiet, and the business didn't play, so Andy went away. I met him in Birmingham the day the shit really hit the fan. The fan was me and the shit was Andy. Upstarts concert. Really handy. Broken noses, really dandy. Andy thinks it's such a laugh to sing Horst Wessel in the bath, smash up other people's fun, make page 20 of The Sun, but I knew his time would come. And his mate came up today, told me he'd been put away, stupid nutter anyway, that's all he said, then turned away. What a waste, that's all I'll say. Maybe he'll change, somehow, someday. A year of life went down the drain, then they let Andy out again. The guys inside had changed his mind. He left his fascist past behind. One day, I met him in the pub. He'd finished with the killing club. He said he had to watch his face, because you don't leave the master race. Now Andy and his local crew stand firm against the chosen few. He's playing in a rebel band to spread the word across the land. And sometimes in a pissed up haze, he talks about the bad old days. And here's his message, loud and clear. We'll never let it happen here. You Nazi boneheads ought to know that you will be the first to go, because what they want is serried ranks, unsmiling clones in chieftain tanks, no room for music, punk or skin. They'll bring the goose step marchers in and take our football and our bands, smash our guitars and break our hands. So no more crap about colour of skin, because unity is the way to win. And what our Annie says is true. Stand firm. Don't let them hoodwink you. Cheers. And continuing the theme, one of my new reggae pieces, this is a dancehall track, some of you heard it before. It's the true story of how recently an individual in the local Conservative council group, Mr. Tim Wills, was unmasked as an actual proper practising fascist with a propensity for the 14 words. You know, I'm sure he knows what, and for using sort of phrases like our blood and revenge and stuff on an underground, supposedly encrypted network called, what's it called? Telegram, I think. Anyway, so obviously Telegram Sam got in there somewhere and unencrypted it. So well done, Telegram Sam. And he was exposed and thrown out of the Conservative Party, because even they couldn't have someone like that in there, and or at least not openly. I'm sure there are plenty more in there who were undercover. Anyway, so there was a by-election and we won, and now the Tories have no overall control in Worthing, and next May we're going to take it over for Labour. Anyway, without any further ado, bit of dancehall for you now. This is called No Fascists in Worthing. Here we go. Tories thought we were nasty to expose a councillor who talked like a Nazi. He was a fascist, but he wore sharp suits. No face tattoos, no 12-old bother boots. He'd rather have a nice Jimmy Choo bag than a screwdriver t-shirt and a glue bag. But we got organised and it's no mystery. He's just said hello to the dustbin of history. The fascists in Worthing, that's what we all say. It was different in the 80s, so we'll try another way. But whatever they dress like, and wherever they go, one word for the fascists, and that word is no. The fascists in Worthing. 8 years ago they were street fighters, so they ended up pavement biters. Lewisham, Hatfield, Brick Lane, Waterloo, we just did what we knew we had to do. They still use intimidation, but now it's all about infiltration. The Tory party is crawling with them, and plenty there are happy to forgive them. The fascists in Worthing, that's what we all say. It was different in the 80s, so we'll try a different way. Not to get complacent, always stay aware. No fascists in Worthing, no fascists anywhere. No fascists in Worthing, that's what we all say. It was different in the 80s, so we'll try another way. But whatever they dress like, and wherever they go, one word for the fascists, and that word is no. The fascists in Worthing. The fascists in Worthing in a dancehall style. MC Attila in a dancehall style. The fascists in Worthing in a dancehall style. Tenor man tell it in a dancehall style. The fascists in Worthing in a dancehall style. MC Attila in a dancehall style. The fascists in Worthing in a dancehall style. Tenor man tell it in a dancehall style. Hey, hey, hey. There we go. No fascists in Worthing. Back in that one was the wonderful sounds of the Barleyfield dance band. That's Kingsley Salmon, who is my producer, and his father, What's Left Dub, who is the overseer and does quite a lot of the production. Kingsley writes most of the music, and they're geniuses, and that is why I'm going to be doing a dub poetry album this year. I've talked about it already. A lifelong ambition that I never ever thought I would go anywhere near, because you've got to have the right people behind you, otherwise you look like an idiot. And this guy Kingsley's been out in Jamaica working at the Big Fish studio with Freddie McGregor and Linville Thompson. So that's pretty much spot on from that point of view. So anyway, what we're going to do now, we're going to do one more of these. And this is the most topical one of all. And it's very, very topical for me personally right now, because it's what everybody needs to do. It's what I did 3 times, which is why hopefully I've been pretty much okay through having caught COVID. Here we go. This little rat said to inspire us not to get coronavirus. Lady Gaga, Miley Cyrus, they don't want coronavirus. It's a disease coming on the breeze. You'll be on your knees with just one sneeze. It's a disease coming on the breeze. Listen to those Daleks, please. Vaccinate, vaccinate. Vaccinate, vaccinate. Vaccinate, vaccinate. Bloody hell. It's a pandemic running through the world at a rate systemic. Let me spell out my position. I'm 64 with a lung condition. Let's all work hard to avoid it till researchers have destroyed it. Don't get cranky, don't be a fogey. Use that hanky, bin that bogey. This little rat said to inspire us not to get coronavirus. Lady Gaga, Miley Cyrus, they don't want coronavirus. It's a disease coming on the breeze. You'll be on your knees with just one sneeze. It's a disease coming on the breeze. Listen to those Daleks, please. Vaccinate, vaccinate. Vaccinate, vaccinate. Vaccinate, vaccinate. Please be kind and give assistance. Always do it at a distance. Get your normal shopping done. There's enough for everyone. Panic buying, stupid caper. Put back all that toilet paper. What a really crap idea. Just chill out and have a beer. This little rat said to inspire us not to get coronavirus. Lady Gaga, Miley Cyrus, they don't want coronavirus. It's a disease coming on the breeze. To be on your knees with just one sneeze. It's a disease coming on the breeze. One more time for the Daleks, please. Vaccinate, vaccinate. Vaccinate, vaccinate. Vaccinate, vaccinate. New dance called the Pontius Pilate. Time we all learn to freestyle it. Water, hands and a bar of soap. Clean under a microscope. No, don't scratch your dirty bridge. Then go down and raid the fridge. Please keep safe. Please keep well. Coronavirus, go to hell. This little rat said to inspire us not to get coronavirus. Lady Gaga, Miley Cyrus, they don't want coronavirus. It's a disease coming on the breeze. You'll be on your knees with just one sneeze. It's a disease coming on the breeze. One more time for the Daleks, please. Vaccinate, vaccinate. Vaccinate, vaccinate. Vaccinate, vaccinate. Vaccinate, vaccinate. Don't get ill with this disease. Get the jab in your arm, please. Trust the doctor's expertise, not conspiracy theories. Don't get ill with this disease. Get the jab in your arm, please. Trust the doctor's expertise, not conspiracy theories. Don't get ill with this disease. Get the jab in your arm, please. Anti-vaxxers talk knob cheese. Anti-vaxxers talk knob cheese. Don't get ill with this disease. Anti-vaxxers talk knob cheese. Anti-vaxxers talk knob cheese. Anti-vaxxers talk knob cheese. What do anti-vaxxers talk, everybody? Knob cheese. That's what they talk. What do they talk? Knob cheese. Let's have a bit of Dillinger, shall we? Bit of Dillinger. Hey. Don't let it in your house. If you get a souse, it's worse than crab louse. Don't let it in your house. You get a souse. It's worse than crab louse. I am not a liar. It's worse than gonorrhea. You'll be burning with the fire. I am not a liar. It's worse than gonorrhea. You'll be burning with the fire. Hey. Cheers, everybody. So hang on a minute, mate. Yeah, let's turn that off. Let me see and see if I can be clever and see the comments on my phone. Let me see, because as I say, I can't see them on my computer anymore. So let me just see if I can actually see. I'm not going to spend long trying to do this, but if I can see the comments and see who's here, and obviously to check. The most important thing about tonight is that there's some money being raised for for the Hope Orphanage in Sierra Leone. So let's have a look here. Let's see what we got here. Let's see what we got here. So I should be live. There I am. There I'm live, and there's lots of comments. That's good. And with a bit of luck, there's what left stuff. Hello, Roxanne Stout, knob cheese, crab louse, absolutely. Now Eagle Spitz is putting up the things. That's all really good. So that's all the stuff that's necessary. And Eagle Spitz loves this stuff. And Jar Gave, who hopefully one day I'll be doing he runs an excellent sound system in Brighton. Hopefully I'll be doing some of that stuff as well within one day as well. Well, I'll leave that up now anyway, but yeah, please do make a donation. It's really important. Tonight isn't about me, it's about a group of young girls in an orphanage in Sierra Leone in East Africa who need your support. And how about getting really, really topical now and doing some poems about the Russian threat? Just like in 1981. Slightly different, but not really. I don't want to talk about this too much, but should we say... I wouldn't put a lot of time. I mean, I don't have a lot of time for Putin. I don't have a lot of time for a bunch of oligarchs who stole the wealth of the Soviet people and using it by footballers. And I don't have much time for the government of Ukraine, who seem to be relying on a certain amount of neo-Nazis in their defensive forces, and who obviously didn't cover themselves in glory in the past in terms of their collaboration with fascists and in the Second World War and everything. So it's like 6 of one and half a dozen of the other, really, as far as I'm concerned. And I'm not taking sides on that one. Apart from the fact, I would say that the people of Lorbas and around the Donetsk and all around that area, if they are majority Russian and they want to be part of Russia and not part of Ukraine, as far as I'm concerned, that seems to be completely logical. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say on the matter, apart from to do a really old poem, one of the very first ones I ever wrote, right at the beginning of the last Russian threat. And I think we all know which one this is, don't we? Because it's the one that's been on an awful lot of compilation albums and was played on my very first ever John Peel session, and indeed one of the first poems was ever played on his show. And I wrote it after my Auntie Frida and Uncle Morris came to stay and brought with them their copy of the Sunday Express, and it was lying open on the table in my mother and stepfather's house, and I was back for a visit and I saw it, and one half was a big rant about the Russian threat and the other half about social security scroungers, and we all know what comes now, don't we? It first was a rumour dismissed as a lie, but then came the evidence none could deny. A double-page spread in the Sunday Express. The Russians are running the DHSS. The scroungers and misfits have done it at last. The die of destruction is finally cast. The glue-stiffing Trotsky is final excess. The Russians are running the DHSS. It must be the truth because it's there in the news. A plot by the Kremlin, financed by the Jews and set up by Scargill, has met with success. The Russians are running the DHSS. So go down to your job centre. I bet you'll see Albanian students get handouts for free and drum-crazed punk rockers cavort and caress in interview booths in the DHSS. They go to Mallorca on taxpayers' money. Hey, you there, stop laughing. I don't think it's funny. And squatters and tramps eat smoked salmon and cress. Now the Russians are running the DHSS. We'll catch that rat Scargill with our red rat catcher. We'll send him to dinner with Margaret Thatcher. We'll make him stay there until he will confess that he put the Reds in the DHSS. Then we'll hang him and flog him and hang him again. And hang him and flog him and more of the same. We'll gas all the dole queues and clear up the mess. Get rid of the Reds and the DHSS. Cheers. I need a nice big swig now. Like I say, I have to watch my energy levels at the moment because I'm recovering from COVID. But I certainly want to blow out this gig, and of course I'm not contagious over the ether. But I'm just going to relax for a second, and I think what I'll do now is do a very relaxed song, relaxed in form but not in content. I watched a program last night about a Slovenian victim of the Holocaust. He didn't die, but he was in a horrible little death camp in the French mountains, and he talked about, he's still alive, he's 106. He talked about living through that and seeing the same sort of thing happening again, and most specifically, obviously, for someone of his age and origins, the ghastly civil war in Yugoslavia in the 90s, when a thriving, united socialist country was torn apart in the name of that bloody word again, the one the anti-vaxxers love, the one right-wing fundamentalists in America love, that word that starts in F. I want to abolish it. I want to abolish the word freedom. I don't want to abolish the concept of freedom. I just want to call it something else, because freedom just to me now just means selfishness, ignorance, profit for arms dealers and multinationals, and lots and lots of people duped. This is called Sarajevo. I wrote it as I watched like the mighty Laibach doing their brave gigs as Sarajevo burned in 1995. This is for Laibach. You don't have to sit back and watch psychopaths fight. The hand of friendship is usually right. Most people want peace and a home somewhere. They don't care about the thugs and their murderous stare. Now we knew this for 40 years. A brand new way replaced traditional fears. Most people lived happily side by side. A place for terror, no need to hide. But it wasn't to the liking of the World Bank suits who cheered when the tribes rediscovered their roots. They can handle torture, rape and death if it opens up markets for the IMF. And they're free now. Oh, they're free now. A chance for individuals to compete. Free now. Oh, they're free now. Fascists gun down children in the street. I remember all those messages from Amnesty who said the whole damn lot of them should be free, no matter what they say, no matter what they do, because they're only entitled to their point of view. The Liberals cheered when the money men won, but they cry in the face of the tank and the gun. And the arms manufacturers were having fun as well, going fat on the profits of sectarian hell. Now Tito saw it another way. For 100 years, educate each day and suppress the thugs and their murderous lie. Keep the lid on the pot till the hate boiled dry. But they're free now. Oh, they're free now. The rape camp guards can have a Big Mac for tea. Free now. Oh, they're free now. Welcome to Western liberal democracy. There's freedom in Bischofferode, in East Germany. The town closed due to economic unviability. The word has become meaningless, a travesty. For there can be no freedom without power for the free. And that means more than shopping, actually. Afghanistan in 1979, everybody swallowed the American nine. Misogynists from the 7th century were freedom fighters on TV. The Western world took them to their hearts. The Afghan nation was torn apart, and now everything's gone. No one seems to care about the awful nightmare happening there. Civil war in Kabul, fundamentalist clash with Arsenal's bought with Western cash. But the 9 o'clock news isn't there anymore. They're not fighting commies, so it's not a real war. They're free now. Oh, they're free now. They starve in Moscow, burn in Chechnya. Free now. Oh, they're free now. fascism, war, poverty, mafia. Free now, oh they're free now. Look freedom up in the latest dictionary. Free now, oh they're free now. It says an IMF loan and a monetarist economy. While in East Berlin the satirists sing Auf die Dauer hilft nur Mauer. We want our wall back, we want our wall back. Can we have a wall back, please? And quite a lot of the people in Donbass and Donetsk are saying that right now too. You know, 67 or 68% of the people of Russia think they were better off in the Soviet Union. For what it's worth, so do I. Right, I'm going to do another slow one now because I need to get the old lungies a bit sort of a bit relaxed. So I'm going to do another song from Europe. I'm going to do this one. Every song I write from Europe because we're in Europe, but you know what I mean. This is the one I wrote. So I toured the GDR 4 times before the wall came down, then went back straight after the wall came down. I wrote this, the new version, or newer version of a song I originally wrote in 1984, Airstrip 1, which many of you will know. And this is I used the same tune and the same theme and different words for this song, written in 1990 as I travelled through East Berlin for the first time after the wall had gone. And so what was happening? Market Sector 1, covered twice by East German bands. So, okay, you know, that is what I call a tribute. A tribute is when I, as an English person, go somewhere, write about it, and then people that live there and experience it every day cover my words. I like that. Another new year and too much beer and goodbye to the wall. But now there's only disappointment, nothing left at all. The dreams we marched and fought for have faded and turned sour. The cabbage is a king now, it's Helmut's finest hour. And on the streets the people wanted, as seen on TV. And a big bunch of bananas is a sign that you are free. It's just begun, Market Sector 1. As in the East we talked about the future bold and new. 1,000 Western businessmen were celebrating too. The vultures were all circling because there's money to be made. A multinational carve up, a bank to be obeyed. And then the repossessions, the cries on every hand. You're living in my house, mine hair, you're farming on my land. It's time to run, Market Sector 1. Is that all that we were fighting for? Bananas and sex shops, nothing more. Welcome to the Western dream. Welcome to the cheap labour scheme. The whole of Europe's changing. Big brother's on the run. It could just be a brand new age. But freedom has begun. Freedom freedom doesn't bow its head to some financier's will. And Europe is our common home on some gigantic till. So send the money grabbers riding off into the sun. Send with them the culture of the dollar and the gun. Then we'll have fun, justice will be done. Cheers. I hope you're all appreciating the improved sound, courtesy of Radio 4, who gave me a new mic and headphones as thanks for my participation in the programme recently by that Sesay was doing. So I'm having a look now at everybody's things. So what we got here? Punk for the Homeless have loads of merch and music on our Bandcamp. So there's the Bandcamp music page. Hello, Tony Stowers. That's brilliant. And then there's the Eagle Spitz has put up the fundraising page. Please donate. It's very important. I mean, I don't normally go on about donations. I'm certainly not that particularly worried about people ever donating to me when I perform. But I'm doing this specifically for this cause. And it's obviously people that really do need it, self-evidently. So keep going. Right. I'm just relaxing you a bit. Let my shoulders sort of spread out a bit. I've got COPD, and it's bizarre, this thing for me. The one hand, I've got a lung condition, and on the other hand, I can cycle 20 miles without even thinking about it. It's very, very strange. I mean, I've got big lungs, but they're damaged. You would have to have big lungs if you've done what I've done for 40 years. Obviously, they're apparently shouting and doing things like that, and cycling obviously improves the size and strength of your lungs. But inhaling other people's cigarettes for 20 years at gigs does the opposite. So there you go. So any Carrie Middleton, Doreen Later, RJ Alexander, Rally Tag, Dave Fawkes, Stephen James Folds, Paul Grivell. Fifth McLaren says donation link. It's behind you. It's behind you. Scroll up. Yeah, people are watching. Peter Garrett, John Baines, my near namesake. Jess Silk is there. Hello, Jess. Absolutely. No, this is good. We're getting a good crew in, and it's lovely to perform for you all. And so Roxanne Stout donated. Really enjoying listening to you after a long day. But what's happening today is I am being a little bit more relaxed than I normally am, because, as I say, my breathing has to be watched. So I'm going to do another of my dub poems now, I think. This is one of the really new ones. This one, we don't know whether we're going to put this out. This is one of the ones that's going to be. I mean, I'm doing an album. I've done an. If you're interested, this isn't me plugging my merch tonight. But if you're interested, if you go to Bandcamp, you'll find all my dub stuff. There's, I think, 7 tracks up so far, and there's 2 more coming, and this is one of them. This one is about my battle with bladder cancer, my confrontation with bladder cancer, and it's. Because it was about that, I decided to use the old diseases rhythm, Coxsone diseases rhythm, which might mean something to reggae fans and probably won't to anybody else. We're not sure whether we're going to be able to put this on the record or put it out on anything really, because we've got to check with Jamaica as to whether anyone's sort of bothered about the copyright. It's a sort of thing that never used to worry anybody back in the old days, but they've got sort of new rules now, and I don't want to fall out with anyone over there. That's for certain. I mean, so anyway, but this is Tenor Man. This is Tenor Man. The disease is rhythm. This is blood. This is bladder cancer dancehall talkover. That's a new genre for you. Bladder cancer dancehall talkover. I'm gonna tell you my story about the battle with the big C. I saw some blood when I had a pee, so I went to the doctor immediately. If it happens to you, do just like me and go to the doctor immediately. The doctor took one look at me, said into my bladder he needed to see, and I had to have a flexible cystoscopy. Hey, what's a flexible cystoscopy? Hey, camera goes up your willy. Hey, not a lot of room there, dearie me. Hey, it's a little camera, don't worry. So I had my first flexible cystoscopy. It felt a bit sore and a bit tickly, and when it went up my willy, what I saw on the screen was really scary. There were tumours in my bladder, 1, 2, 3. So I had another flexible cystoscopy. Was at the tumours immediately. Then I had another flexible cystoscopy to check that they dealt with the big C. And for 6 years then annually, I had another flexible cystoscopy. I had some good news recently. The doctor said to me happily, he's discarding me as cancer free, so no more flexible cystoscopy, which is a great big relief to me. And I thank the NHS massively for all the care that they've given me. But when you've had a flexible cystoscopy for many, many years quite regularly, and you're 64 years old like me, you really have to watch it when you pee. You really have to watch it when you pee. Now most of the time I'm Attila MC. Hey, most of the time I'm Attila MC. But when I do this one, listen to me. Hey, when I do this one, listen to me. Cause I'm tenor man, dribbling on the rhythm. Hey, tenor man, dribbling on the rhythm. My pants aren't yellow man, that wouldn't be forgiven. I'm tenor man, dribbling on the rhythm. Dribble, 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 dribble on the rhythm. Dribble, 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 dribble on the rhythm. The point of this tale is plain to see. If there's something wrong with your body, get it checked out immediately. Then you could end up just like me, living your life like you want it to be, chatting on the rhythm in poetry, making up rhymes rude and silly, but not on a stretcher in A&E, or even worse in the mortuary. I'm so happy that I have life, and I'm so happy that I love my wife, and her town that I love best is the one that I call breast, and her country best of all is the one I call nipple. And so excuse me, yellow man, for your hit tune I got a new plan. It's not zunga 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 zang, it's zumba 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 zem. Hey, zumba 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 zem. Now I think that's enough for me and my flexible cystoscopy. If you're in the Duke of Welly and you have a pee the same time as me, and mine seems to go on endlessly, remember chant from Attila MC and join in with this chant with me. I'm tenor man, dribbling on the rhythm. Hey, tenor man, dribbling on the rhythm. My pants aren't yellow man, that wouldn't be forgiven. I'm tenor man, dribbling on the rhythm. Dribbling, 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 dribbling on the rhythm. Hey, tenor man, and one more of these, and then probably one more to finish. So we're going to do not that one again, no. This one, Afghanistan. History dub. Afghan musicians were silenced and beaten, and women flogged into submission and veil, as gay men are tortured by gun-toting fascists, and taking you back to the old hippie trail. That was the Afghanistan of the 70s. Left-wing ideas were being spread fast by young angry students and workers in cities, opposed in the countryside, stuck in the past. The radical hippies of Europe came visiting, Marx, feminism and land rights in tow, and urban Afghanistan made revolution. Rural Afghanistan rose and said no. Young radical teachers went into the countryside, ordering mullahs to let the girls learn. They had their throats cut, acid thrown in their faces. Their comrades attacked elders' homes in return. The Civil War became increasingly brutal. The communists split, looked to Russia for aid. Brzezinski and Carter saw an opportunity. Funds were established and contacts were made. They financed the torture and murder of teachers, denial of learning and burning of schools. The thugs who'd one day be behind 9/11 were funded and trained as America's tools. Their aim was to force Soviet intervention, get Russia involved in their own Vietnam. The fact that these allies all hated the US was simply ignored in this cynical plan. Most Afghan communists welcomed the Russians, which cost them support in a bold sovereign nation, and our leaders called Islamist terrorists heroes, brave fighters opposing a red occupation. Followed 10 years of unspeakable stalemate, the US and Russia both sharing the blame. Then Gorbachev organised Soviet withdrawal, but warlords still fought till the Taliban came. The peace that they brought was the still of oblivion, for music, for women, for teachers, for life. Then came 9/11 and US invasion, a new occupier, the same brutal strife. The irony was that this time the Americans built schools for girls, didn't finance destruction, and life in the cities got better for many, with hopes of renewal, rebirth, reconstruction, where the countryside remained a hive of reaction. The Taliban fled, but they quickly returned. Once more they spread hatred, disguised as religion. Once more schools were torched, once more schools were burned. And now the Americans flee like the Russians, and Taliban thugs commit hideous crimes. I can't help but wonder just what would have happened if the Yanks hadn't financed them in former times. Imagine how different our world would be now if the socialist, secular teachers had won, and the thugs behind Taliban and Al-Qaeda had been vanquished before they had even begun. Cheers, everybody. Thanks very much. I'm probably going to do one more because, yeah, you're probably here. But I'm just going to check once more on everybody's on everybody's. I've got to turn this down again now. So it all seems to be going okay. Everyone seems to be going. Yeah, it's good. I can't quite. I can't get comments. I can just say things that people are watching, but that's not to worry. It's all fine. And I see live chat. Oh, I don't know, whatever. Anyway, not to worry. I'm going to do one more. Thanks for listening. Please donate. Eagle's been bunging the URLs up all the time, so please donate to that. As you know, some of you will know, I've been doing my Introduces series. Next Monday, we have my old friend Henry Normal, who's now getting quite famous on Radio 4, at 8 o'clock doing a poetry set on the Introduces page. And then we have two more. the following 2 Mondays, which are Joe solo and then Tracy Curtis to finish. I think many of you will know already that Glastonwick is happening this year, all things hopefully being considered. And at the end of February, I finally start my 40th anniversary tour proper, delayed for 2 years. I'm doing huge amounts of gigs, but you'll hear about those as well. So just to finish off tonight, I'm going to do this one. This is a poem of hope and reconciliation that I do quite often. It's called Never Too Late, for my stepfather, John Stanford. My father died when I was 10, and when she dried her tears, Mum met you in the choir. She's known of you for years. I was so pleased when she told me that she would be your wife, and I looked forward happily to a new man in my life. But you were the classical singer who thought rock and roll was junk, and I was the bowline boogie boy who soon became a punk. You were the civil servant for whom everything had its place, and I was the left-wing activist, out there and in your face. Yes, you were the head of the household, and I was the stroppy kid. We wound each other up for sure. We flipped each other's lid. But later, we both learned so much, and something new began. And here's a poem I wrote for you, you decent, gentle man. So I went off to my own life, left you and Mum to yours. A few words about football, then the sound of closing doors. But the passing of so many years gave us both time to reflect, and slowly, oh so slowly, we forged a new respect. When you were ill the first time and found it hard to walk, I'd take you to the hospital and we would sit and talk. It felt so right and normal. And it was such a shame that it had taken all this time. Both stubborn, both to blame. Because you were the head of the household and I was the stroppy kid. We wound each other up for sure. We flipped each other's lid. But later, we both learned so much and something new began. And here's a poem I wrote for you, you decent, gentle man. When Mum came down with Alzheimer's, 5 years you cooked and cared. And we were around there every day, so many thoughts were shared. Your simple, honest loyalty. The vows you made, you'd keep. No longer the big boss man, me, no longer the black sheep. Then came that day in hospital. The end was near. We knew. You told me, I do love you, John. I said, I love you too. You took my hand and squeezed it. Our eyes were filled with tears. The first time that we'd said that, it took 37 years. Because you were the head of the household and I was the stroppy kid. We wound each other up for sure. We flipped each other's lid. But later, we both learned so much and something new began. And here's a poem I wrote for you, you decent, gentle man. It's never too late. Never too late. Never too late to say you love someone. If it wasn't too late for me and John, then it's never too late for anyone. Cheers, everybody. Thanks very much to Punks for the Homeless. That's obviously Eagle and Rachel for everything that you do. Thanks for inviting me to do this. Please, everybody, donate. Share this page, share this gig with other people you think might be interested and ask them to donate too. And I'll see you soon. I've got lots of gigs coming up. So take care and see you soon. I'll be commenting on your comments once I've had a bit of a breather. All right, cheers, all the best.